All right, folks, thanks for sitting through that. That took considerably longer than expected, but again, Suet just kind of disappeared. And I mean, he's probably expecting the series to not time out the way it did or whatever. Point is, he's back. We got the videos done, and we are getting into Proxima Station for the very first game in this best of 5. It is the winners match here on Korea, and it's a TvP. It's going to be a really interesting TvP too, because both GuMiho and Stats have been showing a lot of really good games lately. And I don't mean just through IEM, which they did show great games in IEM. But in Lima Leagues, BTSLs, Corsair Cups, like whatever the heck they're playing in, they usually make it to the semifinals and the finals, and for good reason.
Yeah. I do believe you meant Stats. But
Oh, sorry, who did I say?
I think it was clear enough. Sue.
So I've still got Sue in the brain, I guess. Stats, yes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Pardon me. TvP. So the emphasis. I'm trying to think, what did anything really change to affect this matchup? Widow Mines, and that's about it, right? Grenades didn't really have an effect on it. No Protoss buffs.
Yeah. Just the Widow Mines.
So yeah, for those who don't know, Widow Mines have had their shield damage toned down a bit. I think it went from, I want to say, bonus 40 to bonus 25 versus shields. So I think it'll still do like with its its regular damage, it'll still do a considerable amount of damage to one unit, but I think it takes away the what do you want to call it, like the ghetto EMP factor. Like it just doesn't obliterate shields the way it did before. My concern with this, and we haven't really had a chance to see it because Stats is the first Protoss we've seen in a while, right? Is whether or not this brings back the resurgence of Zealot Charge Lot Storms. If you guys don't remember the history of StarCraft 2, or at least the meta of the way things went for a while, that was the way to play against Terran, and Terran literally couldn't do anything about it. So they had to buff the Widow Mine. But maybe enough things have changed. Maybe Liberators are the new aspect of what we needed. I don't know. This was a change made in HOTS that has now been reverted in, essentially here in Legacy. Almost called it Legion, playing too much World of Warcraft lately.
Did they? Is that why they buffed the Widow Mine?
I believe, someone could correct me on this, I'm very sure though it was specifically because Charge Lot Storm was so ridiculous and there was no other answer to it at the time.
Well,
And
yeah,
if that
I think
wasn't,
about it more.
well, if that wasn't the cause, it was the effect, because either way it stopped the strategy from being viable.
Yes, that's definitely true.
Anyways, more on theory crafting and such later. We are in the winners match for the TING Open Season 3 wild card group. The winner of this will go straight to that round of 8 where Snoot and Nurchio are waiting for opponents. In the top right, we have the blue Protoss from Splice. It's Stats.
In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is GuMiho, and he's already on that probe's ass.
Yeah, well, the probe had started taking a funny direction. I think Stats may have been contemplating throwing down a proxy, but either way, the fact that it would have gotten revealed would have made it not worthwhile. It's a little bit silly too, like just how much a good Terran player can shut down Protoss cheese by knowing what it is, compared to how devastating that cheese can be, and if you don't know what it is.
Yeah. Can be pretty brutal. GuMiho does something really interesting. You don't usually see a Terran player take the outside base, and there really still wasn't much of a reason to for GuMiho. He could have just placed the command center down, like, you know, next to the probe, and still would have only lost so much time. But by doing it here, he loses no time. It's all on location, and all you have to worry about is defending the front, which you would do normally on another map. It's just the Proxima usually gives you a much safer base to take. I don't know if Stats will be surprised by that or not. I think his probe still saw it.
Well,
No, he didn't. Died.
Speaking of probe, no probe actually comes across the map. No, actually, you're right, he didn't. I guess that came down just after. But this is gonna be weird because if the probe comes across and goes to the pylon, which it's not, where do you put the pylon then? Emphasis to cancel the command center or to break these two depots? I actually don't know which is the priority as I don't play Protoss, but it would be cool to see. Either way, it's not the case. It's just simply a mothership core who, granted, she might not get much, but scouting at the very least.
Yeah, she'll be a scout. That is a 1/1/1.
Yeah, poke in and recall.
You know, from what Stats has seen, he saw a delayed command center and not too much else. Of course, now seeing everything, don't know what exactly he saw before, but there's a chance he might have been worried about like a proxy or a multiple barracks build or something like that.
Oh no, this is bad. He's got to fly away from that. What am I?
Oh wow, that was really close. Really close.
Even if.
Oh, pretty close.
Okay, That got a little bit nasty, a little bit scary. Reaper on the other side of the map, not running too rampant, but did see the Stargate. Now, whether he knows about the Oracle timing being here or not, Adept's going to get a kill on the SCV. Marines aren't going to stand up to this. Where's that Widow Mine at? Let's run to the mineral lines. Okay.
Stats is going to see that burrow, I believe. He's going to avoid it. Kind of sucks for GuMiho, as it's its only defense against the Oracle right now. Cyclone is on the way, and Marines are on the way. But
Stats is controlling this Oracle really well, too, by the way.
Yep.
That I don't think should have gotten 6 worker kills in most scenarios, but the Adept also policing out here. Oh, we can click on this. What is it? It is bonus 22. Hey!
Way to go, man. Yeah. Oracle is going to stay in the back. Fortunately, even if the Viking comes out, the Oracle can actually run away. This Oracle gets a couple more Marines, has to skedaddle, though. Cyclone can still technically take it out. Takes forever, though.
Takes a long time, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, the double Widow Mines on the other side of the map are looking for a bit of payback. Unfortunately, there's really not much in the natural, and the Mothership Core will be policing the main, so I don't know how much potential these Widow Mines actually have, unless Stats just simply isn't paying attention. And we can see he very much is.
That was kind of close, though. Didn't bother microing that one probe back. Does it now, and that's going to be taken care of eventually.
I think scoops up that Widow Mine, too.
A waste of potent overcharge trying to get that medevac, but the Phoenix could chase it down eventually.
Man, the horizon of that planet just looks so pretty. I really love the backing to this map.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Oracle chills down here. It's gaining energy. The Viking, of course, has not found it, considering it's gone to the corners of the map looking for it, but it will, once again, just barely not see it.
Wow.
Phoenix kills the medevac, too. This has actually been a really great start for Stats.
It has, yes. He's going to get away with the third base.
Oh, my God.
Not much GuMiho can do.
Yo, hit Shift L. 2 probes for 2 Widow Mines, 7 SCVs, 1 medevac, 1 Reaper, and 9 Marines. This has been a forget what I said. This has been a phenomenal opening for Stats.
Yeah, this has been pretty perfect as far as openers go. I mean, you don't expect to necessarily do that much as a Protoss player, but you at least expect to be able to get to your third base without taking damage, and that has certainly happened for Stats. Plus all the damage he's dealt. Probably going to deal with this okay since he has a Phoenix out already. Maybe he gets 1 or 2 probe kills.
On his way to... Forcing the time off mining would be nice, but yeah, Stats not paying attention immediately. But oh my God, that last second pull only going to cost him a minimal amount of probes here.
Almost got 4 or 5. A couple of probes started to run in a little bit haphazardly, but loses 3. Yeah, not so bad. Just sacrifice itself on top of that mineral line. Oh, it doesn't even get a shot. Wow.
Nicely done. Stats with a good cleanup. Solid defense. Again, not having lost much this game, but a couple of probes. And, you know, honestly, of all Protoss things to lose, I'd say probes are probably the most acceptable, considering you can chrono them back out really quickly. He's on 50, for goodness sake.
Is going the path of Blink, actually, not mass adepts like you sometimes see, or as of late, you see a lot with the Stargate expansions. That might be a bit of a surprise for GuMiho. He might start trying to drop and just be completely surprised and blindsided by a bunch of stalkers sniping his medevacs. His drop should start soon enough with Statement Combat Shields finishing up, but 5 more SCVs from that Oracle that has just been secretly hiding in that corner.
Yeah, it's the funny thing too is it's not even a corner. It's just like this one little grid of dead space. It's just barely outside of scouting range from what GuMiho has been looking for pretty consistently. The Oracle's got 17 kills on it, by the way. That is
still lives. Wow.
That is a really good Oracle.
Yep. Medevac with 4 Widow Mines, certainly scary. You don't pay attention, that is your entire mineral line.
I don't know. Stats has been really, really attentive, so I can't see this getting too much. But if it does, kudos. That's how GuMiho gets back into this game, for sure. GuMiho
should definitely be waiting until he pushes the front with it. That's a very odd supply depot.
Yeah, actually, the supply depot blocks out some minerals. I don't...
Well, you just lower it, right? But
that's true.
It still looks weird.
All right, well, the push at the front might not even be that big of a problem. Stasis Trap might just catch it. He sees it. Oh, nice control out of GuMiho. While this goes on, Widow Mines land, but probes were pulled, so minimal damage goes down. 4 probes dead, and GuMiho's attack falls very flat. That pylon lives 1 HP.
Yeah. I mean, he saves the army. I think he even saved the medevac that dropped. Yeah, the Widow Mines. And the Widow Mines did get, I guess, 1 shot apiece. That's the very minimum they can do. And now GuMiho's going to try and break down these rocks. You don't usually see Terrans do it. In fact, you don't really see anyone do it. Not even Zerg break down these rocks.
I don't think this would be too problematic, though. He did have a sentry. Oh, they're in the wrong spot, though. I was going to say force fielding that off would be no issue because there's no medevac support for it. But even as this Wood of Mine burrows, it gets picked off. Wood of Mines are actually going to get off. Ooh, I like that on burrow. Gets a better shot with it. Maybe, potentially. No, it's only because like 8 probe. Top of the ramp over here. There's those force fields I was talking about. Stalker's going to hold on this side. Stats still got to clean up what's going on in the main. He will. 8 workers lost. I think 3 bases. That's totally acceptable.
It is, yeah. GuMiho's third base is still finishing up, mind you. Like, this would be very different if he also had a saturated base. But it's still got to get SCVs over there, only at 46. Some more probes go down to third base. GuMiho's trying his best to make these drops work, despite, you know, Blink already being done. It's not quite catching up to all the drops, and it's okay for GuMiho, especially if he saves his medevacs. But Sats is getting close to having Resident Glaives as well, and +1 armor. And, you know, all of his gateways production is done. He'll very quickly rise in that army count. Get him, Phoenix. Don't be scared of 1 Marine. He's trying a little hard to save that medevac, you know.
I mean...
Oh my god, he's gonna save it. Oh my god.
Don't mock the tryhards, Zombie Grub.
Really not. Oh, the Phoenix still alive too, though. It's helping out a little bit. These are nothing but Marauders in here. Come on, make up for your other... Oh.
Poor Phoenix. Just can't catch your break here. Not able to catch these medevacs.
Oh, well. Stats is still playing defensive, but like I said, like, his production's all set up. He's making up for, I guess, the probe losses pretty quick, like, and he will soon have a very large gateway army. Gonna distract as well with the Warp Prism attack in the main, always annoying for Tearing to deal with. But GuMiho does have a decent army. You know, Libras are on the way out as well. He might fall behind in upgrades as his engineer base is only just finishing up here.
But the army is at the front. Only the Viking in the backside to try and push off this Warp Prism. And okay, I still think Stats could probably get a Warp in if he really wanted to, but those 4 depths might be enough. GuMiho's looking at the front doors, and this is where the army fight's going to go down. Unfortunately, those costing him several SCVs inside of his own natural.
6 SCVs. No, a couple more in the main base.
Oh boy.
Gotta be pulled away. GuMiho's still waiting for the attack at the front, but Stats actually repositions away from the burrowed Widow Mines.
He sees the Widow Mines too. He's got 2 different observers. I like this in case one gets sniped. He's got the other one ready to go. Reinforcements are coming across the map too. No, poor Marine will get shut down. Scan sees the army having repositioned though, so the Liberties will set up instead of being caught unsieged, but Stalker still pulling forward to focus him down. Widow Mines will take out several depths on the right side, but I think Sets' army should still... Wow, you know what? The Liberties don't get cleaned up entirely.
Yeah, those 2 Liberties really help. The fact that Widow Mines hit the Adept run by, you know run through, whatever.
While this went on, though, those Adepts in the main and natural did kill 20-something SCVs. If Stats gets out of here with any amount of army to defend with, he'll be fine.
Right, it's kind of feeling like almost like Deja Vu. Very different compositions this game, but if Stats overcommits to the attack, he might not have enough on the defense. It's a lot easier with this style, though, to have reinforcements already coming through, though. Like, you know, you don't have to wait for the robotics fan to give you your powerful units. You still have, like, 8 gateways.
That's funny. He actually transfers over to the Warp Prism. I didn't realize this was alive.
Yep. GuMiho's going to try and attack in. He does have a 20 army supply lead, but can he force the issue quick enough, I guess the question? You
know, overcharges and cannons are going to buy a pretty good amount of time. And while it's going on, he's continuing to bleed units out back at home. I think for GuMiho, like, the army, if it was coming down to an army fight, wins without a doubt, especially with those Liberators. But the stall-out game doesn't work when you're going to be starving behind this. This is a weird game of attrition for GuMiho that he is losing.
I don't think Stats had to... Okay, well, he's going to push in there. The Adepts actually shade through. Liberators taken care of, and while the Adepts all died, the Liberators went down, and...
So did all the SCVs, though.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that he backed off, because it was... Well, I guess there's 2 Immortals. Yeah, and those, like... Those Immortals would have chomped through nothing but Marauders that's in GuMiho's army, so... Stats just warps in another handful of Adepts, and now his army is very well-rounded, just missing a Guardian Shield, and... could maybe push to win.
Not so well-rounded, though. No wheels in this army. Let's not forget.
You're right. I guess the Sentry has a sphere that kind of turns a little bit, but it's not really a
The Adepts look like they have a steering wheel on their back, actually. Anyways, he's pushing in. If this is going to be base trade,
though.
Again, there's the advantage that, yeah, GuMiho can lift his buildings, but the disadvantage is that I don't know that he can win any sort of army fight. Overcharges take out a few units. He does focus down that Immortal, though, so hold that phone.
Oh.
Stasis Trap hits a good chunk of the army, but not enough of the army. The command center's not burning. This actually isn't going to work out for Stats if this goes into full-on base trade mode.
I think the other one was trigger, not scans.
You know what, though? I think Force Foot at the top of the ramp guarantees Stats doesn't lose this game. If he had a sentry... Oh, no, he's got no sentries!
No, he's got no sentries. I really like the stasis traps. I would not have thought of that in this scenario, but the Oracle ended up being a little bit useful. Unfortunately, not able to capitalize on it. It just delayed the push a little bit, so now he has sentries.
The reason this worked, too, is because the medevac count is so limited in number and also low on energy, so this one set up pretty nicely. Again, it's not going to take a lot, but it'll be enough. Clears out the main base. GuMiho's flying. He's scared and retreating in every direction. It's like the Quarian fleet, right? More Mass Effect references. Hey. GG.
That's gonna be it. GG.
All right. Good start to the series for Stats. 1-0 up over GuMiho. But it kind of made me scared. Like, that game almost made me think right back to that Joxy series where Stats was going in for the attack and maybe went too ham with the attack and would have died to the counter. I mean, that's kind of the direction that started heading towards that fight, but he did it. He managed to base trade to Terran and win. Who thunk it?
Well, some people thunk it. They get a hoof it 1 for the 32-month resub. Go GuMiho.
Man, I saw these.
Gadget.
I go to game or check Twitter between games, and everyone's like posting they're on their way to PAX. I really wish I was more on the PAX hype train. Like, there's so many people going to PAX I want to see, but I don't care much for PAX itself. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what happens at PAX. So.
People play single-player games. It's really gross and weird. Makes me uncomfortable just thinking about it. I've got anxiety. Hoof it 1, by the way, so for 32 months. So say go GuMiho.
I literally just did that, and you even.
Man, I actually didn't hear that. That's entirely on me.
Wait, you even went go GuMiho before I did.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember this. I'm actually like having a brain fit then because I do not remember this. Whatever. Okay. I'm gonna tell you guys, this 5-hour energy is not working. I talked a big game up for it earlier. I'm apparently still asleep.
You're a liar.
All right, Abyssal Reef coming down for game 2. Again, we missed the opportunity to use the super good GSL version. Rip.
I'm never gonna remember.
I know, neither am I, but I'll always lament and regret it. But all right, folks, we are in game, putting scores on the board. Whoops, wrong way. It's Stats who's winning currently. Top left side from Psystorm Gaming, it is the Red Terran player, GuMiho, aptly known as the Gumi God.
In the bottom right, there's the blue Protoss. It is Stats.
I will say Stats, even going back to the series versus Joxy at the start, despite winning, it did look a little bit odd at first. Kind of was worried, again, I was worried that's how it would look versus GuMiho, but commanding first game, maybe this won't be that accidental game 5. Maybe Stats will actually take the 3-0.
I think that overall these mass gateway styles are performing better than Colossus styles. I don't think Colossus styles are necessarily bad or that they're in the wrong and even try it, but I just feel like lately especially it's been a lot about the Adepts and the Blink Stalkers and mass gateway units, as that certainly did help him remake the army last game. Of course, he wasn't at nearly as supply disadvantage last game as he was when he committed his Colossus and Gateway army against Joxy, but still, the idea was that he's able to reinforce a little bit quicker.
That goes to the keyword, though, right? Colossus. For there's a time period where the Colossus looked so good, but I am not convinced by them recently. There's been a game here and there, especially in the big streams, where the Colossus have looked okay, but you and I, we cast the grunt work. We cast more games than the big games. And I'd say more often than not, Colossus look pretty bad.
I agree. I don't have any backing necessarily. Maybe some stat guys like, oh, actually, the games that you've cast, and I don't care. It just seems that the overwhelming gateway count has worked out, or maybe it's just how I feel. I'm not sure. But I know what has working out a lot for Protosses, stats included, are these proxy gateways. Proxy gateways or gateway in a fast third base. Point is, it's kind of been about the Stargates. Did I say proxy gateways? Because they haven't proxy Stargate. Anyway,
Sounds like
about the
you're also
Stargate.
having some brain spritzes this morning too. Or
You know what?
fritzes. I can't even get that word right. Jesus.
Whatever, man. Yeah, the Stargate's gonna work out really well.
This is
the
actually
Reaper comes
huge
in
though.
here.
Well, so the Reaper doesn't do much, but you know what it does? It sees there's no second pylon. GuMiho should immediately have red
always-
flags go up.
Yeah, it does look like he took that for the value of what he saw. Because sometimes it's like, well, what if I just didn't see it in the very back, you know? But Cyclone
I
already
think
being produced, he knows.
He's gonna confirm it
check
too with the Reaper. It's one of those things though where it's better off to play suspicious against Protoss than not, especially if you've got at least this much information, right? So yeah, this is gonna come across the map. Pylons come down. I mean, the Cyclone, for no other reason, forget the Oracle for a moment. For dealing with this pylon, the Cyclone is the best. It'll tear through this very quickly, and he might actually kill us before it even gets overcharged. Even then, overcharges and dies pretty darn quick. That pylon that was meant to either shut down the command center over here or tear down 2 depots and a reactor doesn't get to do any of that. So ultimately, a failed attack out of stats so far. But Astra's got it because that Stargate's still going to come into effect.
Well, is it?
Well, you know what?
There's no
I
Stargate.
thought it was. He's not producing.
No, it looks like once he was scouted, he just kind of said, forget it about the Stargate. So this is not as much of a committal as it could have been. It already wasn't as much of a committal as it could have been because there's no Zealot and a Nexus was put down. But just like on top of that, you don't get the Stargate, you go for the Robo. It might trip GuMiho up, who's probably like, okay, where's the Oracle? Where's it coming? I know it's coming. Where is it? Come on now. And it's actually going to be a War Prism a bit later.
Well,
It might trip him up.
these 2 Cyclones pushing, though, will work out kind of nicely for him. If he goes with the Marines in that medevac as soon as it's out and good to go, he's actually got a really strong pushing force. And heck, if he catches this Mothership Core in the middle of the map, he can either kill it through lock-ons or force a recall, meaning there's only 1 overcharge when the main attack it hits. In fact, oh, he's not paying attention. There we go.
Gonna get the high ground, and that's where the units can save it. Yep.
Okay, so that could have gone better. No quite real damage done on it. Only shields. War Prism's going to head off to the left side. The medevac might just intercept this. This is definitely worth turning around and grabbing, but he's just going to go for it. Cyclone's coming on the right side, and the drop's going to go on the left side. Unfortunately, that means they're going to drop into the overcharge, but the Mothership Core's not in position for this.
Well, the Stalkers and the Adept are here, and of course base Marines, so they weren't really going to be that effective. Pretty sure he saw the War Prism.
I hope he did. I mean, there are enough units
There's
at
units.
home. Like, even if this was something weird like DTs, I think he'd still hold. The Cyclone's really good at killing things on the ground.
I like this, though. Stats knew he was scouted, so he's not going to bother trying to go into the main base.
He is trying to catch that Mothership Core, though, really badly, and that pylon here on the right side's not done, so the lock-on will kill the Mothership Core, and now we can start running away with this. 2 Cyclones will kill most Gateway units. Natural base is lifted, SCVs are pulled back, but between the Liberator and the Cyclones, plus these Marines, I think you should be able to hold the top of this
don't
ramp.
do this. Oh god, stats, pull back.
Oh, you know what? Depowered back at home. No more warpins, no more gateways.
That's GuMiho's game.
Yeah, Stats loses on 2 different fronts. GG. That was well played out of GuMiho. And again, like this really shows how far a little scouting can go, right? Realizing that there'd be something up, Stats immediately is forced to cancel whatever his plans for that proxy were. Really done. Really well done out of GuMiho. All right, game number 3 coming up, but it's been 2 games, so stick around, guys. We'll see you in 2 minutes for map number 3. All right, folks, unfortunately, there's no cat cam to steal the camera away back to, so we will just go straight to the game scene. Shame on you, zombie grub.
What? Apollo left.
Yeah, and whose fault is that? Probably his neglectful mother's.
What? I was petting him and everything.
No, I'm lashing out because I miss him, man. I don't have my own cat anymore, so I have to live through yours. But anyways, my woes aside, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sitting through those ads. We are in game number 3. Things have been tied up 1-1 in the winners match. Fear not, because the loser of this is not eliminated from TING. The loser of this series merely moves on to fight against Sue in that finals slot. But in the upper right, he is the red Protoss stats.
In the bottom right is the blue Terran. He is GuMiho.
So I'm not sure how much you've been paying attention outside of StarCraft, because I know you don't tend to normally, but, well, that and Overwatch, I guess. But have you been seeing some of Splice's news, by the way?
I pay attention to the world, Rifkin. No, I haven't. What do you mean specifically, I guess?
Oh, they've just had like a lot of really cool announcements and a lot of really good things going for them. So for me, I sit there and I look at this, right? Like, I know that they appreciate their players, and I'm like, I hope they don't get too big for StarCraft, man, because they're like announcing some pretty cool stuff, some awesome partnerships. Like,
Yeah, I see their a lot of different members of their team, I suppose, like not just the CEO, but like a couple other guys, talking in a lot of interviews. Like I feel like lately, whenever I've read an interview about an interesting thing in esports, has been like a comment from Splice.
What's interesting for me is, and I mean this in no disrespectful way to Splice, I had not heard of them prior to them announcing picking up Solar. Then I look into this, I'm like, wow, this is a big organization. Where did these guys come from? They've been doing it for a while. So I guess in some ways, like I am a little bit closed off to the world too, but you know, following them more recently, it's just kind of like, wow, it's like, I'm gonna say almost at the point of like rivaling Team Liquid in terms of like getting that big. But I mean, Team Liquid's still the biggest across all games. Like,
yeah, for sure. I really like. Okay, GuMiho's proxying out of the middle of nowhere. I really like that they are. So they're already connecting with the community. Like you have the Splice guy actually talk on Reddit, which is already like a good sign. So, yeah, I actually really like the team. So anyway, this proxy's not a proxy, and he's gonna be kind of disappointed to see that his opponent spawned top right, because even bottom left probably would have been a little more preferable. It's a lot different, I would say, than if a Stargate's proxied, because we talked about that, right? Where at least you hide it, right? But you don't really have to worry about hiding a factory off of 2 bases.
No, it's standard. In fact, if anything, this detracts from him because he won't have a Cyclone at home to defend, but he's still going to go through with it. And I'm guessing this is... I wish this wasn't a tech lab. I really wish this was something where like elevated Hellions that would at least justify, you know, speeding across the map. My guess is though, like Tech Lab comes down, and I'm hoping for something weird like a Banshee. I really don't know what GuMiho can do to salvage a bad proxy location like this.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter what he gets. It's all coming from roughly the same distance as if he had put it in his main base. Except you're right, like it doesn't have the benefit of being able to defend. He's just kind of out of luck here if Stats decides to push.
If Stats does the pylon, but he doesn't this time. But if Stats did the pylon push, I think GuMiho would actually just have to GG out almost.
Yeah. Stats is still pushing with Adepts and an Oracle on the way, and combined, they would take out the Marines. But he's going to go into the natural first, so worst case, GuMiho lifts the supply depot and has enough Marines to take care of the Oracle. Yeah, too late.
Maybe that. I'd like the Oracle to just come to the front, tear down those depots, whatever. Anyways, question is, was it going to be a Banshee? And the answer is yes. Cloak Banshee on the way. And what's kind of neat about this is Stats, he will have the tools to deal with it, but maybe not initially. If oracles are across the map, if they're out of energy, there's no revelation, meaning there's no detection. However, if he realizes this is coming, you know, he's been in the main, he sees no factory, he saw no starport. I think a Phoenix is absolutely in order. There we go, starts a Phoenix up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are going through the things in your head here, and it's going to be, I would say usually, okay, they didn't proxy a factory because there's no Cyclone push that would have already hit. If they proxied a starport, it's very possible they're still just doing a typical Widow Mine drop, but a Phoenix helps with that. If they're going for a Liberator, the Phoenix helps with that. If they go for a Banshee, the Phoenix helps with that, as long as there's Revelation.
Goofy's going to take a Ninja base. I like this. We haven't seen this in a while.
That's a very cleverly placed Widow Mine. He used the factory for a purpose, even though it took forever for him to get over here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if these will get amazing hits or not, but it is something that's intended to catch units rallied out. Again, the Banshee for me is the biggest point. Here we go in the main. Oracles were kept at home though, because they weren't used on the offense. They have Revelation, and the Phoenix, of course, dealing that bonus damage to the Banshee will very quickly get rid of it. He did lose a couple of probes to this. A little bit annoying. Even this shouldn't be too bad.
That's gonna get a shot.
Yeah, Stalker's gonna rip.
That sucks. That kind of sucks. But he's so far defended pretty well against something they didn't know was coming. It definitely helped that it was proxied, so Stats didn't know exactly what was coming out from the starport. But the Stargate is such a good catch-all for I don't know.
Yeah,
it works out anyway.
Not even just the Stargate, but even specifically the Phoenix. Like, worried about Widow Mines? Graviton beam it. Worried about Banshees? Just straight up kill them. Like, and then you add in the effective Oracles and otherwise. But there's a push coming. And honestly, where's the Mothership Core?
She's in the natural, I think.
Yeah, okay. She needs to be here for the overcharge. The overcharge will help stop the Marines, one way or the other, but problem is Banshee is back in the main. And one of the Oracles dying. He's got one more left for Revelation.
He doesn't have a lot of army to spread around, and if he spreads it around, then suddenly small groups of units would die.
I'm actually surprised that it seems like GuMiho's weird proxy might work out. He's killing the third.
It's definitely killing the third base, right? And that's, I think, the bare minimum of what he needed to do after everything else had been denied. But stats was, I would say, pretty close to just simply denying it entirely. And if he had saved the Nexus, like, GuMiho would be so out of this game. But
Well,
even more probes are going down to the natural. The Oracle, one Oracle died to a Widow Mine, so he has only one Oracle to have Revelation for all these Banshees.
well, that's the Robo, though. Gets the Observer out, so now he doesn't need to rely on it so much. But GuMiho took a Ninja base, and that's worth noting. So even if the third base did stay, I don't think he'd be as out of it as you're describing, because, again, it's this weird third base that is still a third.
It is a third base, you're right. But if Stats hadn't lost his Nexus, he already would have had Chrono on 3, well, probably would have changed over his Chrono just now, but he would have had 3 probe production. He would have been up to 70 probes.
Is Stats gonna take a Ninja base too?
No, I think he just forgot about these. He would have been up to 70 probes and probably could have turnoed all of his tech faster. And GuMiho, yeah, he held up on his own tech to do this. And of course, he had to bring back the starport, bring back the factory. He's not bothering to bring back the starport. He's just building a new one.
I guess he's continuing to produce Banshees, though, which is going to be interesting. The first ones did, I guess, enough damage to warrant it.
Yeah. They're constantly catching him off guard, and that's definitely one of the powers of the Banshee against Protoss specifically, is that they have, I guess, the most inconsistent detection. That's what I'm looking for. Jeez. Sport Caller is almost always made for the Zerg. Seems pretty beneficial to get them, and the Overseer's a little speedy. Queens are obviously always anti-air and always in each base, and then unfortunately, Observer's a little slow, and Oracles only have so much energy.
I do gotta say, though, a lot of this game, being where it is even right now, hinges on the fact that Stats was smart enough with his first scout. Not to say that he was smart enough to scout, but he recognized there was something going on after that scout, so had those first Oracles not been pulled back, if he didn't have the Revelation for the first, 2 or 3 Banshees, this game could have honestly already been over in GuMiho's favor. And it still might end up going that way. Still, quite a bit of damage being done.
Kind of feeling that way. More mining lost, more probes lost. Stats does have his upgrades, and GuMiho is pushing in with Stim combat shields, but not necessarily overpowering with his army supply.
Well, 63 up is still pretty nice, yeah.
10 up, actually, now. It's being warped in. I need that Guardian Shield. Unfortunately, the Phoenix can't help out too much here, and this might not be enough.
Well, Guardian Shield actually was helping sustain a lot of that damage, because this was mostly Marines over Marauders. I love even just picking up the one Marauder.
Well, it's a nice hold. I thought the Adepts would go back. They would die a little bit faster, but a good chunk of them survived.
That's that beautiful Guardian Shield really, really coming into effect. Again, early on, I think later on when you got +3 weapons, Guardian Shield's not as big of a deal, but early on, certainly reducing 2 damage is huge.
This is around the time where Stats should be recognizing something's up, by the way. Like, considering what you did to me to proxy, to do that attack, and you don't have a third base, why is my contain not working out as well as it should be? Like, why are you still able to produce so much?
Another Banshee to the main.
He might start looking for a proxy for a hidden base soon enough, but committing to this attack, it might just be game over.
He didn't have Force Foots, he didn't have Guardian Shields. Like, he has energy for some, but he goes in too early. Banshee tries off all the mining in the mining in the main.
Mining in the mine.
Mining in the mine. Well, point is, income down the drain, and Stats is actually looking really worse for wear. While he took a good defensive fight here, pushing out may have been his worst enemy.
Pushing into that was just so questionable. I thought he was going to contain and just be like, wait a second, that's way too much bio, what's happening? And then be forced to retreat, maybe still lose, but committing like he did, nothing from the sentries, it was very questionable. A Banshee probably threw him off a lot.
Look at that in-game graph, too, for GuMiho. Absolutely fantastic with that third base. And he's probably dropping every mule over there, too, to make sure that he's not mining out the main and natural. So more sustainability, longer time spent in these bases. He can hold off on a siege. But Stats finally looking for a bit of payback. He's got those Adepts coming to the mineral lines.
The Stalkers know that Medivac's somewhere. They really want to get the snipe on it. Easy peasy. Fortunately, a bit too late. This will stop Stats from containing. There was a stasis trap, but I think GuMiho is going to poke ahead. And yeah, I find it.
Banshee pushes off the main.
Jesus.
I mean, like, the Banshees are such a weird investment in this game because you just don't see them in TvP. They're not conventional or regular units, but 5 have been made. The 6th one, 5 have died, rather. 6th one in the main actually gets quite a bit of damage done on the Nexus. I don't know, man. I'm Stats isn't out of this game by any means, but I am feeling much worse for him than I expected to be.
Well, around now, I think he'd definitely be wanting to have a 4th base and be maxed out on probes, too. Like, you still have 45 probes. It's usually not what you want for 3 bases. Observer gonna get picked off even, so he knows the attack is incoming, but he's not quite sure when or Concave is gonna be available. The Warp Prism harassment was denied, so it's only gonna be used to maybe some pickup micro on the defense. Oh no, it went to the left, that's right. Okay, so it might be able to pull the army back once again, and it would be really great for stats if it did.
The thing is, though, he might not actually be able to afford warpins, as great as that would be. He knows that this attack is coming. He knows that the attack is looming.
Oh god, GuMiho goes in with only a partial, and since he killed the Observer, Stats doesn't see that's only partial of the army.
Oh, rest of pepperonis. He's got some
He kind of had an
coming up in the
idea.
main. I
don't think he realized it was all of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of overcharges, but are there enough overcharges is the question, and he actually has a really nice spread with them. But Marauders come out, pylons get focused, defense is quickly dealt with, and I think GuMiho's just got too much. Stats, in the meantime, will hold on to his third, but at the cost of so much in the main.
Yeah, most of his production has been canceled out here, but to be honest, it wasn't as effective as a drop as I thought it'd be. That was like 6 full medevacs, so it is kind of being taken care of. GuMiho banking a lot of money, in fact. Maybe he thought that was a game-winning move. He needs to start spending it. He's actually at an even army supply right now, even upgrades. Okay, +2 is about to finish, but Stats has one goal opportunity. If he can kill these medevacs, the stalkers that are coming out right now, and counterattack, he might be able to push into GuMiho's natural, but it's a, big ifs. Yeah, unload, stalkers aren't good against Marauders. Oh, blink forward? No, there's just not enough stalkers to blink forward. By the way, Stats is still probably very confused. He has a Warp Prism on what could have been the other third, and I think just by his aggression, he's seen that the other third hadn't been taken, so he's maybe not even thought about it, but if he did, he'd be like, oh, there's a hidden base somewhere. Yeah,
we talk about it as if players are just sitting there like super calmly and collected, but I'm sure there's actually a fairly large degree of panic for Stats. I mean, GuMiho really has been tearing him apart. But yeah, you're right, at some point too, there's going to be that almost BS moment coming in where you're like, wait a minute, how do you still have this many units? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Stats might have also just straight up forgot about his...
This base is actually really mined out, by the way.
It really was built very early in the game.
Yeah, and it was like every mule's been dropped there since, but Widow Mines go off on only one probe each, so nice baits on the right side out of Stats. Force fields are okay too to split that army. Stats is taking a pretty good fight despite being down in supply, but I think at the end of the day, the Concave and the endless supply of units is too much, and GuMiho is going to take this game. GG. Terran. All right, well, folks, I've got to take care of something really quick. So we're going to actually insert an ad break, even though this is one game earlier than we would normally do. So sit tight. I'll be back in 2 minutes for game number 4, possibly the last game in the series. Hey, we're back. We're getting into the game. So I'm going to have to get you a solo cast for a few minutes this one. So my roommate's actually having something delivered I was supposed to get for her today, but they're here like 4 hours earlier than it's supposed to be. So I got to go let the movers in and stuff.
Okay.
So we'll get into this game, guys, and I'm just gonna have to pop away for a few minutes. But yeah, easy peasy. It'll just be a couple minutes. I just have to let them in, and they're all good after that. But yeah, if you guys are just joining us before I disappear, it's game number 4 here in the winners bracket for the TING Open wild card group. And I'll put my camera on Crank. See if you can follow him.
Oh, what if he's a really bad observer?
Oh, we're gonna find out. All right, camera's set, and I will be back in a couple of minutes.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is Stats. I took a shot, thought maybe I'd go to GuMiho really fast, and he didn't, so... In the bottom right. In the bottom right. In the bottom right. That's never gonna happen. In the bottom right, it's GuMiho, so let's just get on with the talk. GuMiho is already sending out an SCV. It's not too uncommon to see a proxy barracks on this map. Not uncommon at all, I would say. In fact, back when Terrans were the ones that were proxying more than the Protoss, it's kind of swapped in the last month and a half, 2 months. This was probably one of the more common maps to not only proxy the barracks, but also the factory and the starport. So... back in the day, Protoss would be very on top of scouting for this specifically. Nowadays, it might not just be something that Stats thinks about. Now, Stats has to recognize that the last game was a proxy of some sort. His Oracle saw there was nothing in the main base after all, and suddenly there's Banshees everywhere in every, freaking minute. But will that make him any more paranoid to scout in this game? A probe is on the way out, and since there's not going to be any wall, there's not going to be a Reaper, tearing on that probe, it will eventually see that it is going to be a proxy. GuMiho has also decided not to go for the Reaper proxy, but rather just go for the factory and probably even starport after that, so Marine is going to pop out. I don't know if I like this as much as going for that Reaper. One Reaper doesn't do a lot, really, or sometimes not much at all. But it can get maybe even 2 kills, maybe 5 if this Protoss is really, really surprised. Marine can't really do anything, and this probe timing obviously will, still be enough for Stats to be like, oh, wait a second, oh, okay, I know what's going on. So he's going to build the Zealots, going to get the Militia Corps, Chrono as many units as possible, and he'll even cancel the Nexus, because of course he hasn't seen a factory put down in the main base either, and it would be around that time that you would either see a command center or a factory. So he knows how committed it is. GuMiho definitely likes his Cyclones. It could be Cyclones, it could be tanks. Either way, you're going to want as many units as possible, and that does include having more production. So the Nexus, while it could have been left alive and just, be trying to defend with a pylon on the front, and that buys time for the Robo, and maybe you can have a barely there defense. It is a safer choice to go for, what we see Stats doing, which is to actually try and pylon rush it.
I see.
Doesn't work out though.
I missed quite a game to have to go run to the door for, but the Cyclone killing the Mothership Core was the difference of this game ending or not.
Yeah, well, Stats definitely committed to that pylon rush, not just in the fact that his army died, but that's where he was putting his minerals. He was putting it into 2 pylons, a Zealot going out right there, and now it's going back into a Mothership Core in production.
I mean, I really like the Immortal. I think that'll help a ton in this situation, but it is worth noting Marines and Cyclones, this one's even being repaired up. These will kill an Immortal. Overcharge can help out, certainly. Crank was a
terrible server.
Why?
He never went to GuMiho. Like, he just stood on Stats. So I was like, in the top left of Stats.
Oh, maybe they don't do intros in Korean. I don't actually know.
I don't know.
Oh, this is a problem. If this was all one fight, I think Stats could take it, but he can't really afford to split. As he does, the Cyclones come up and they catch the Immortal, but the Immortal actually gets one of the Cyclones. He pushes off the backside, and this got really scary for a second, but Stats holds it together.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. If their barrier had already been popped, I think 2 Cyclones would have killed the Immortal, or at least got it very, very low. But with a barrier, I was like, yeah, you really push up into that? And the answer is no, you can't. So, or you know. Now, Stats having had to cancel his Nexus and losing out on a Mothership Core and 2 pylons means that this game maybe could go into like a macro game in a very weird scenario.
Immortals, be careful.
But Stats is pushing out to try and take care of the proxies of GuMiho. Medevac Micro is definitely helping out.
That Immortal pullback too, I don't necessarily think that was just to get away from the Marines, but it did bring that auto attack in range of only the Cyclone. That was really well handled. While this goes on though, Liberator kills some probes while he's killing up the army.
That wasn't too good though. Like losing the Liberator, unfortunately. I think this was just really good pylon placement.
Oh, he's gonna kill the Starport. Oh wow, that's huge actually.
I think Stats might have this now, killing the production like he has.
Maybe, yeah, getting on top of the production is a big deal. Of course, there's still Marines running around the main though, which is a problem. He's gonna focus on the medevac. Yeah, with that medevac going down, that locks down the defense. GG.
Proxy for you.
Oh, game number 5, Zombie Grub.
Oh my god.
All right, so maybe game number 5 ends up being really epic, or maybe it ends up being abruptly short. But the point is, again, I want to remind everybody, because it's the winner's match, the winner goes through to the round of 8. The loser still has to go fight against Sue in the very last best of 5 today. So there is still a chance for both of these players to get out of the group. But obviously, winning this game here and now will solidify that and lock it down.
What is the last map? Scrolly. Newkirk.
Newkirk, I'm just thinking on, it's another good one for proxies. I mean, I joined in late for that one. I wasn't thinking so much for GuMiho, more so for Stats. But, it's been interesting to see how this plays out. Whether it's normal, whether there's some sort of aggression.
Well, let's say there's a lot to bank on in the last game, but these guys do have another life.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm hungry. I don't
Me
quite want a
too.
pizza, but
Well, I'm hungry, but I had a foot-long sandwich, so I can't justify eating anything else for a while.
man, I got up nice and early and made myself a real breakfast.
Oh yeah? Like what? What'd you have for breakfast, girl?
I had toast and fried eggs.
Ooh.
Yep, my parents probably weren't too happy because I was making eggs at 5 in the morning, but
I don't remember. Did I tell you about the bagels?
the bagels. No, you didn't.
So I'm gonna give my age away. I'm done with hiding it, guys. You ready for this?
Oh my god.
At 28 years old,
Ah!
I did not learn until this week why bread boxes exist.
Oh,
And
oh
you
that
should-
story. Yeah.
And that you should keep bagels and bread out of the sunlight or they will go bad very quickly. And I'm upset because I lost over a dozen bagels / bread, plus bread, I guess, rather, to mold. Really frustrated that that happened to such a simple mistake. But it's one of those things where as you grow up, like you're never really told why you keep the bread in the bread box type thing. You just did. So I was like, oh, I don't need a bread box, whatever.
Do
Wasted
you
the
actually
money.
have a bread box?
No, but I could have put it in a cupboard or
Oh.
just like out of the sun is my
Well,
point.
I meant when
Like-
you were growing up, rather. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, you did. So it was like one of those things that you like kind of like you had to roll up or whatever, just like pushed up and it rolled into itself.
Well, mine was just like a literal box. We just tossed it into, but I guess like the sides
Oh.
kept the shade for the because there's no sun coming from
Okay.
above.
Okay.
Anyways, guys, it's game number 5. My ignorance aside, in the bottom right, he is tied up the series on him, rather. He was up 2-1 before. Things have been tied up 2-2 now. It's GuMiho.
In the bottom left is the red Protoss. He is spliced stats.
The inconsistency of Twitch alerts is amazing. Thank you, Dong Holster. Amazing name. Is that just basically another name for underwear?
That's what I was gonna ask, man.
2 months on that resub. Glad to have you back. But if we miss anyone else, I can't see it because Twitch alerts is broken again. Or excuse me, Streamlabs.
Let's see here. Passive Crimes, 32 months.
Nice.
Gantrathor, 87, 33 months.
See, it's so. I'm just gonna say it. Twitch alerts never broke on me. Streamlabs has every day that it's been out.
Yeah, it's definitely faulty.
They'll fix it, I'm
Oh,
sure, but it's just
yes.
annoying that it keeps happening.
So is Twitch. Lately, I feel there's been a lot of bugs. Well. Oh well. So, no proxies. Regular game going on here. Stats going for the Stargate in his own base. We'll probably be getting that fast third. And into mass gateways.
It's an in-base proxy.
It is in proximity to your base. It's not a lie.
I know it's a trolley question, but someone in chat says, isn't Rifkin always hungry? And the answer to that is a yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a... I didn't understand for a long time skinny people, to be honest. Like, when they were like,
Oh my
I had a
God.
bite of pizza and I'm full, and I'm like, you're full? Is that like a feeling you can have? Like, I've eaten an entire pizza and not felt full before, so...
No, one of my friends that I moved in with here, he's got the opposite problem. Like, I'm trying to lose weight, he's trying to gain weight type thing, right? And he just sits there and he's like, yeah, I just, you just start working and you forget to eat. I'm like, how do you forget to eat? Your stomach just starts telling you, like, hey, dummy.
I know, right?
Like,
I didn't understand any of these concepts. Now I understand a little bit more, but like, I remember
Oh.
never feeling full.
by the way, shout out to Logan joining us in chat. Can we talk about how cool his name is now that the movie's been out? Logan, seriously, is my
Oh man,
favorite movie right now.
someone
it's
was
so
like
good.
Artosis or someone went to go see the movie and was like, I thought it would be better, and I was like,
Wow, sorry that your tastes in movies is so bad.
I don't remember who it was. But the Adepts don't work out. They really need each
You-
other. They need to be best buds.
You really should go find out who it is, just so you know who to unassociate with. You want to accidentally be friends with one of those. We do have the Oracle managed to skip the Widow Mine. I don't know if he actually saw it. Oh god, that was kind of close. That's really kind of close. Sliding it in, sliding it out. Oh, that's a loot, actually.
Hey.
Either way, the
Heyo.
Oracle will find nothing over here but mass repairing
It
SCVs.
kind of looked like they were repairing a Widow Mine.
Why would you be
Come
repairing
around.
a Widow Mine that hadn't been damaged?
Well, I don't know. The Adepts could have gotten a shot on the Widow Mine. I don't remember.
Bunker on this side.
Hold up.
Pylon goes down. This Nexus, it's better off canceled. I don't think he's got the units to defend it. In fact, the mothership core's not even out. There's no reason to let this complete. Stats. Oh, thank God.
Well, the reason is that it's just embarrassing to have to cancel a Nexus against a Marine drop. You suck, Stats.
Well,
No, I love you. I'm just kidding. Please don't listen to that.
He starts another one, though, which is nice. I do actually like that quite a bit. Thank you, Sasha Esport, for the 14-month resub. Wait.
Change your name.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that Sasha Austin, I guess?
That's what I assume.
I don't like name changes, man. I don't recognize your friends anymore. It's like your best friend gets a nose job and doesn't tell you. You're like, who are you?
Okay, but that's actually a perfect analogy because you kind of still recognize them, right?
Right? Like the Sasha part was like, and the pink name, and I'm like, okay, anyways. This Liberator really shouldn't be getting away with anything, but the Phoenix missed it. This is huge because this should have already been cleaned up. The Phoenix should have then been on the front lines to chase down this medevac. The fear here is that GuMiho, not that he kills anything in the natural, but they realize the third is open and free. In fact, that's going to be the case. Uh-oh.
This is a pretty bad start for Stats, man. Like, if he has to cancel a Nexus again, that would just be terrible. Like, terrible if he's loses medevac.
Well, okay, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I want to talk about the pros of Stats losing this series for a moment. If GuMiho wins, great. Another Terran, another Korean, see him in the round of 8. But if Stats loses this and he fights against Sue, and instead of having potentially 2 people drop out of Ting for GSL, it would mean only 1 would, right?
Yes. I thought you were going to go a different direction. I thought you were going to talk about how we're going to see the Hydra buff in effect, but...
Oh, well, maybe with that too, but... Anyways, Phoenix has cleaned up another Liberator. This is weird, because the third base actually did get to finish. He was able to chase this off, and this... Oh, he saw the Widowmine, I believe. This ends up rounding out kind of nicely. I am curious to see, though, how effective these 6 Phoenix will be.
Yeah. Well, they can, in the hands of a master. True master.
What about a Grandmaster?
No. That's just stupid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently it was Artosis, by the way. He said that his, it was something more like based on his expectations, it wasn't as good or something like that.
You know, Artosis and I have had actual talks about me on following him on Twitter, and it looks like I'm going to put it into effect.
He never said it was a bad movie, he just thought it would be better. Which,
yeah, that's just as bad in my books, man.
Yeah. Even like hearing all the hype around it, I still was blown away about how good it was. But whatever, man.
That's exactly how I feel. My biggest concern was going to that movie, hearing the hype, and having it be a letdown. Kind of like, I guess, the way he's describing it. But for me, I think part of it is I really disliked the other X-Men movies to a pretty large extent, actually.
Oh yeah, I don't think any of the X-Men movies were like really fantastic.
So, well, for this, it just really helped bring it up even higher. Regardless, though.
Shit, the Wolverine movies. Oh god, the Wolverine movies were terrible.
Dude, the Wolverine movie, we tried to bring in Deadpool for oh god damn, I can't even. Anyways, that's a substantially large amount of Phoenix, and once again shuts down this third base from going down. If GuMiho, though, attacks, I feel like he only needs 1 warp in worth of Adepts, and these Phoenixes can pick up and kill the rest of the Marines. Like, this is hell, the Adepts here are going to be enough. Like, GuMiho doesn't have that scary of a pushing force.
Oh, run, buddies, run! And that +1 is done on Stats' army, but not GuMiho's, so much better just try and run away while the Phoenixes are out somewhere else, but they're coming back, man! Coming back! Those Marines are dead.
Even if those medevacs boost, they're not getting out of there alive. This is a full cleanup out of Stats, and a very nice one at that, because while this went on, he, again, delayed this third severely. Stats has been mining off of this for a considerable amount of time. GuMiho's not even got this finished. In fact, I'm curious what the income's going to look like. Yeah, not surprising. It's mostly all Stats.
Well, that's it's a little bit surprising considering that not only was GuMiho's Nexus, or CC was delayed, but Stats' Nexus was delayed. But I guess it did round out. Yo,
this attack coming in has got a pretty big supply lead for Stats when it comes to purely that army. Upgrades are +1 on each side, sure, but Stats is also going to have armor for the attack. Widowmines might get some amazing shots, but even then, I just feel like there's still so much more. Like, so many Phoenixes, so many Adepts with this.
The Observer's got to go a little bit farther forward. There are 2 more Widowmines, but if they're picked up by the Phoenixes, I don't think there's any way that GuMiho is going to be able to hold. He has a wall on his side. He has Liberators on his side. If he does hold, he might end up being okay.
I don't know about that transfer. This seems suicidal.
Okay, yeah, I agree. That was very questionable. He does have Guardian Shield now, but his Phoenixes have gone away to help somewhere else, I guess. Oh, there's like a Liberator seating up his natural.
You ever wonder how to throw? Take lessons from Stats. No, I'm just kidding. But that was something that was
Wow.
potentially game-endingly bad. If Stats had lost at a depth count, it wasn't that he would have lost a lead, but he would have also lost the ability to stop a counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand too. He was a little bit distracted. He went back home to deal with that. I think it was like only 2 Marines though that came up here to the top right, or top left, excuse me.
And there's a Liberator, yeah.
Well, some adepts get to the main. This is where that warping is going to be really nice. GuMiho's not responding, but instead pushing, and this is where that adept count really shows and matters the most. Liberators will be removed here. He'll pick up the Widow Mines too. Ooh, perfect control so far out of Stats.
Exactly what you want to use the Phoenixes for.
Oh, and he
No
slips
shots
up
taken
everything.
whatsoever by those units. It's really bad for GuMiho.
Yeah, I'm going to say almost game-endingly bad because he never cleaned up the adepts in the main. They're still running around, killing Marines. Reinforcements cut off. GG. Ladies and gentlemen, Stats makes it to the round of 8. First one out of the wild card group. Very nicely done.
Yes, that's true. He is the first one.
This leads us to the grand finals of the group, though, where we're going to have Sue versus GuMiho, who have not played yet, actually. This will be the first time they met in this group and the tournament, I believe, actually. They may have played in the qualifiers, but I'm not going to count that. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we'll see how this one plays out. This feels like an Alima League finals, too. It's like a best of 5. It's so perfect. It's so nice. But we do have to play some sponsored ads before then. So, guys, do stick around. We'll be back in a moment. A word from TING. If you want to learn more about them, please consider going to bttv.ting.com. Jesse stopped by the stream yesterday. He gave us a nice update on numbers. We're at about 22 out of 40 people signed up for using Ting. If we get 40 out of 40, then we get another season, another $5,000, and maybe even another live offline finals, depending how this one goes. But we'll talk more on that later. Until then, here's the ads. We'll see you guys in a little bit.